Hello, everyone, and welcome to The Big Show. This is Investing and Trading Live, sponsored by Online Trading Academy. My name is Josh Lilquist, and we are happy to have you with us today. As always, I do have my good friend, my good pal, and he is looking good. He is probably feeling good, so he can't say that today. So I'm going to say, Al Connickson, how are you doing today?
Well, I am feeling good. I thought I always said I felt good.
That's why I brought it up, so you can't this time.
Great. Well, no, I feel great. I feel fantastic. And how about you?
I'm doing the same. You can't do any better. If I was any better, there would be two of me right now. But let's just keep it.
That would be more than anyone could or should have to handle.
Hey, it's a good time here in the studio here today. Online Trading Academy, the sponsor of the show here today. 25 years teaching people just like you how to trade and invest. And that can be for short-term income strategies. So say you have a job or you're retired and you want that income strategy on top of that job or not having one at retirement. Mm-hmm. And wealth strategies. We talk about wealth strategies today. That's 401ks, IRAs, any retirement accounts, 403b, TSP, any one of those strategies. We have content and education on how to do both income strategies and wealth. And before we get into kind of a lot of what's happening in the markets here today, Al, some of the things we're going to talk about on the show here today is how to have a consistent strategy in the financial markets. Mm-hmm. I like to talk a lot about sports, and as you know, Al, I love sports. I love baseball. And this past Tuesday, the Astros-Mariners game, anybody that watched that, there was a walk-off home run to win the game. Mm-hmm. A great play by Yordan Alvarez. I mean, hitting that 3-run homer to win the game in the bottom of the ninth. And that's what a lot of people think they need to do in trading and investing is constantly hit that home run every single trade or every single investment. Well, what you need is a strategy in the financial markets that has consistent singles, doubles, triples, and maybe that occasional home run that just makes that year or that account look really good. So I want to talk a lot about consistent strategies in the markets today, Al, but before we do that, what's going on in these markets? Markets hit the lows of the year again this week, so some more bearish pressure on the market, which means downside action. Stocks are going down again. Who knows why? We have a lot of opinions, and Al, we have a lot of opinions on this show as well. What's your insight on the market, what's going on, what could happen here moving forward? And then let's get into these consistent strategies.
Holy cow, that's a lot.
That's a lot.
You just asked.
Pick one.
All right, well, there's all sorts of things going on. We've got inflation. We have the Fed meeting. We've got the CPI, the PPI. We have issues in Europe. The European Union, or UK has issues. We've got issues still with the Russian-Ukrainian situation. We've got issues now with Saudi Arabia. We have earnings. This is the beginning of earnings season. And all of those things could have, do have, and will have an impact on the price of stocks and the price of the various financial instruments that can be used. You mentioned the word consistency. I'm glad you brought that up because that really is the key to being successful, is being able to use a strategy that gives you the ability to be consistent in your returns regardless of what's happening in the market. It is not just shooting for the home runs. The home runs will come, but if you can do the one thing that really is important, you can still have the home runs. You can still have some nice smaller returns, but as long as you eliminate a big loss, that's what's going to keep you in the game. That's what's going to make you successful over time. But we have all these issues going on right now, and I think one of the reasons that so many people have been impacted in a negative way, and I think about $10 trillion of wealth has been lost or transferred at the beginning of this year so far. But over the last couple of years, basically since the pandemic ended, we've seen kind of a new generation of traders, a lot of new people coming into the market that have kind of bought into that buy and hold strategy. They would buy things, basically refuse to sell them. They were buying every dip, always assuming that the Fed was going to be there to boost things up if they needed help. Well, things have changed, and the Fed has changed the way they're approaching things. They went from quantitative easing to quantitative tightening, the exact opposite of what drove the market up basically since 2009. And these people are now, they're wondering what happened. Why didn't the Fed step in? Why didn't my advisor help me? Why did I end up losing when I was doing so well last year? And the problem is they used their opinions. They tried to forecast when things were going to happen. They tried to forecast bottoms in the market, and they weren't using a strategy that allowed them or gave them the ability to be consistent in what they were doing. Sometimes it takes patience. Sometimes there isn't something that you should be investing in. And the thing that you really want to be able to identify is a trend, because when you enter a position, whether you're short-term trading or long-term investing, if you buy something, you want it to go up in value, and you want it to go up enough so you have a decent, attractive profit. How you do that is to be able to identify the beginning and ends of trends. And what a trend is, it's basically a turning point that stops the direction of an asset or the market from going one direction and starts it to move in the different direction, the opposite direction. And the difference between where it turns and where it ends has to be a large enough move so you have a good profit there. That's what our strategy does. We have a core strategy that is designed to find those turning points with a high degree of accuracy. How can we do that? Well, fortunately for us, there are people out there that are telling us what they're doing. And those are the people that have enough clout, enough money to actually start those trends and end those trends. And that's the important thing. If you're just forecasting, you're trying to forecast the bottom of a market, if you're using your opinions to do that, good luck with that, because most of the time you're not going to be accurate. And whatever you pick as the bottom is probably just going to be a point that you pass on the way to the real bottom.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought a lot of those topics there about, having that consistent strategy, but eliminating that big loss is what is key. Stay tuned for the next segment. I'm going to talk a little bit about somebody that most people have probably heard about, some of the things that he was doing, a great video that he put together, but it's eliminating that big loss, having a core strategy that's designed to find those turning points so you know when to get in, but also when to get out of the markets. And Online Trading Academy has a strategy that's designed for that. And if you want to learn more about that strategy, we have a couple different things here, but I'm going to give away some opportunity for people to get into a 3-day deep dive into the financial markets. And this is 3 days to talk about what those turning points are. How do you find them? What might they look like? Having a consistent strategy and ways to eliminate that big loss. If you have a 401k or an IRA right now, you probably have a huge loss on the year because it's just sitting there as the market's going down. There's actually strategies that we'll talk about in there to protect those, but also strategies to profit from down markets in those retirement accounts. So you can call right now for this. It's normally $200 for you radio listeners today. It's just $99. So when you call in right now, mention the 3-day deep dive. Call 888-682-6466. That's 888-682-6466, and that's for 2 seats for this 3-day deep dive. Coming up next, we're going to talk more about these consistent strategies and what's happened to traders and investors over the past, I will say 2 years, on the market conditions and what's been happening with those. This is Josh and Alan, Trading and Investing Live. We'll be right back.